Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for stopping by the OTS Golf YouTube channel. If it's your first time here, I'd invite you to head below, like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Although this is primarily a golf podcast, I'll be reviewing things like golf accessories, products, and some courses. If there's anything else that you'd like to see on the channel, please comment below or reach out to us at OTS Golf on Instagram. Thanks for checking out On the Screws podcast, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Let's get into the video. Welcome to On the Screws podcast. This week we've got a special guest, Andy Walker. Andy Walker Golf, the head coach of Lynn University. How are you doing, Andy?
Good, good. How you doing, buddy? Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. I appreciate you making the time. In this episode, we're going to talk a little bit about your teaching. Maybe you can give us an idea of kind of what's going on with that. You've played on the PGA Tour, Corn Ferry Tour, Mackenzie Tour, played on them all, and you're in Big Break Ireland as well, right? So recently spent a bit of time on the PGA Tour with Kamaiu Johnson, so maybe we can dive into that. And you're the guy behind Dubline Golf, so for anybody out there, seeing people using that as a training aid, we can chat about that as well.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, it looks like I'm too busy right now, then.
You got a lot on your plate, and it looks like you got a lot of banners and stuff up there. I'm just having a look behind you, so maybe just give any of the listeners an idea of kind of what you're working on right now. What's going on in Andy's world?
Right now, as we speak, there's a lot going on. I would say most immediate, just like you talked about, Kamai just left. He was here for the last 3, 4 days, getting some work in, getting ready to go on the road. He has U.S. Open qualifying. So his game is getting really tight. We've worked a lot of short game this past week.
I saw that. It was looking pretty clean. It was nice.
Yeah, yeah, it's looking really clean. Learned some new shots, really in setup, really kind of changing his setup a little bit, which slowed the ball down around the greens, which was nice. What we were looking for to get a little bit more trajectory around the greens, a little bit more trajectory control, and spin control. So that was some good work. We always work on some stuff putting. So we did a lot of that. He's been striking it great the last month. He played well in the Corn Ferry event a couple of weeks ago. He got a win on the Advocates Tour. The week after that. So his ball striking's good. The short game's looking good. Hopefully he could have a good week at Open qualifying, and we can make our way back to Torrey so he can actually play at Torrey Pines this time.
Yeah, so for anybody listening, he was going to be playing at the Farmers, and he had came down with COVID, unfortunately. So he's doing well now, though. I've been following for a little while on IG, both you and Kamaiu. So that's pretty amazing. So hopefully he can make Torrey Pines, and he's gonna need that wedge game there for sure. That's gonna
He's
be
gonna need that wedge game for sure. Yeah.
yeah.
So and then also with the team, we leave tomorrow for NCAA regionals. So we just had a good week last week and won our conference championship. So next week it's go time now. So we leave tomorrow. It's gonna be a crazy day. We get tested in the morning. We have practice in the afternoon. We drive up to Stream Song and then we get tested again at night as soon as we get there. So
Wow.
they're like it's they ain't playing around right now with that. So
Do you notice, Andy, like you've been teaching, like you said, all levels of golfers. So is there a difference with what you're doing with Kamayu, with what you're doing with your students at Lynn University? So you're the SSC Coach of the Year, right?
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
congratulations, man. That's amazing. So is it, the skill levels, obviously, like they're all elite golfers, right? But are you doing different things when you're kind of working with a player on the PGA Tour or on any of the pro tours than you would with your college level golfers?
A lot of what we work on with tour players that I've worked with is some of the stuff that I see that they need, and a lot of stuff that they come to me asking for help with. The college team is more like, I see you guys doing this, and we're going to kind of play this way and game planning. So, but at the end of the day, it's all golf. We're learning new golf shots. We're learning about game planning. We're trying to find our strengths and play to those. Find out what some of the weaknesses are and turn those into strengths. And really, I'm lucky that the college team is really good. So I get really high level players, guys that'll, will be probably playing on some tour here in the near future. And so what I'm working on with them and Kamaiu, sometimes with Kamaiu we can get into a little more of the biomechanics if we need to, because it's more one on one with the team. I'm going to work with their swings, but it's not so much one-on-one biomechanics. At this point, it's kind of like we got to make do for next week's tournament with what we have, and let's find out what our tendencies are. Let's find out, how we can build a game plan that's gonna expose our strengths
Right.
and minimize our weaknesses.
Yeah, because I think it was after the API or Pebble Beach, he was working on like the swing machine there, which was that thing was pretty wild. I don't know what it's
It's
called, but
unbelievable.
it looked like he was kind
Yeah,
of
so
strapped in, and
It's
yeah,
broke, and so Scott and I, so we built a good team since then.
nice,
And
nice.
really, how do we bring in those biomechanics into the playability and shot making and shot shaping and kind of merge a whole system that's going to help him be his most successful. Not really just right now or just for the immediate future. We're looking long term as well.
Right,
And so what's going to be the future in this game and making sure Kamaiu said some things to me like, yes, I've gotten it done that way, but now I want to do it the right way. And
right.
so he tells me his level of of expertise and knowing what he's doing, but his dedication into getting better at his craft.
Right. Now he's still a pretty young guy too, right? So he's got a lot of years to kind of reconstruct or fix anything. Is there, if you were to kind of outline anything in his swing right now, what would be like his best feature? What would you say?
He drives the ball great,
Yeah.
and he's so he's a quick learner. So from where he got the club really a month ago, it was tough for him to get the club to lay down. He would get the club over the top for a couple of reasons. Some biomechanically, he lost a little bit of posture with a slight grip change and really working on the club going back into certain positions, not getting stuck behind him. The change has been awesome. I mean, he could not turn a ball over a month ago, and now he can flight it through the wind and hit nice little draws. He can still hit his cuts. I think driving the ball is a really big key for him because it keeps him in play and it always keeps him in the game. But
Yeah.
now being able to turn the ball over, we played a couple of times this last week. We played PGA National again, and on 14, it was into off of the left, the wind into off the left, and we had to hit 3-wood there during the Honda. We took the driver and roasted it through the wind and turned it over around the corner. And so now we have 50-degree and a pitching wedge in rather than hitting 6 or 7 on it,
Right on.
which is huge. So I think driving the ball is great. So once he starts making birdies, he doesn't put he doesn't push on the brakes at all. He just keeps it going, and it's a I think it's a really unique feature or trait attribute to have as a player is to not get nervous when you get at 5, 6, 7, 8 under par and you want to keep getting it one more. So
Yeah.
I think those are things that make Mike pretty special.
Well, I think too because he's kind of been kind of thrown in the spotlight too, which is amazing, and I've been kind of following him for a while. So when I see he just seems like a pretty humble, easy going, like likable guy, right? So looking forward to hopefully he can make it. Hopefully he can make it in the U.S. Open. That would be pretty amazing. And congrats to him on the tour on the win on the Advocates Tour because that's pretty.
my ball in the course, so I tee up. I lose the ball and I re-up. I miss a fairway, I probably end up in the ocean or maybe the beach. And I'm on a par 5 and I'm finna go reach it. Second was blind, I ain't see it. Feel like it might be an albatross, worst case scenario, birdie or eagle. I swing on the daily, I swing on the daily. My flow like little baby. I might tee up with some ladies. Play the course, you play, they pay me. I need this to be my daily. I'm over swinging like daily.
Let's chat about your golf a little bit. So like we were saying in the intro, you've played on all the tours, right? So you played in the 2012 Northern Trust, and I was kind of having a look at that. So unfortunately didn't make the cut on that one, but I looked at a couple of the guys. Now one of your teammates at the time, Jason Gore, I guess, or was your teammate just prior to that, finished. He tied with you at that time, and I got a couple of the other guys who tied with you. So there's Josh Teeter, Andres Romero, Chris Kirk, and then a couple names like Charles Howe III, Charlie Hoffman, Jason Gore, like we said, and some nobody, Patrick Cantlay. Nobody knows this guy, right? So a lot of players in there to be in amongst. So maybe you can tell me kind of what that experience was like. I'll never be on the PGA Tour. I'll go and watch some events, but unfortunately, never going to be inside the ropes. So what is it like when you go to one of those events to play?
There's nothing like playing on tour. I mean, people can say what they want. The big show is the big show for a reason.
Yeah,
That was a fun week. Obviously, I got to spend a lot of time before that with Jason and kind of get ready for that event. And we did a press conference together, which was cool because it's like, who are we really to be doing press conferences in between? You got like VJ, and he was like number one or two in the world, and Luke Donald, and Freddie and Phil, and then you got Andy and Jason, and then you got all these other guys around. And so it was fun. Um, I hadn't played a lot going into that. I had taken a little bit of time off. When I went in there, I probably wasn't as tournament ready as I had probably could have been, or I was for most of my career. But we started it out and played pretty solid. The first day, I three putted 18 to shoot, I think 73 the first day,
yeah, it was
and we were
73 on day one. Yeah,
it was playing tough. So we were like when I left the golf course, we had to come back and finish Friday morning. I had to come back and finish Thursday's round. So when we left the golf course with 2 holes to play, I think I was like T19 or T20, and so we were moving around okay. And I bogeyed the last hole, shoot 73, get off to a decent start the next day, moving around, plugged one in the lip on the bunker on 17, and had to take an unplayable. I think I made like 7 or 8 there, and then I started pressing a little bit. And so we had a good chance to make the cut, or even contend. To be honest, I was hitting it pretty well at that time. But it was a fun week. My parents was there, my son was there. It was kind of like a curtain call. I birdied the last hole, and there's, I don't know, 4 or 5 thousand people sitting back there, and all I heard was my son say, "Good putt, Papa." Right? He's like 4 years old or something. So
yeah.
that was like, at that moment, I said, I don't have to hit a golf shot ever again in my life. I just heard that from my son. I'm good.
What
Right?
a
So
career highlight. That's unbelievable, man. What an
it
experience.
was fun. I mean, the golf course is great. Obviously, Riv is a big golf course,
Yeah.
and so I had a great time that week.
Yeah, like you just mentioned VJ. So I was looking through. I think it was like plus 4 or 5 was the cut. It was playing. It must have been playing tough that week for sure. And like I'm a huge fan of VJ. I've loved VJ since I was a kid. And you kind of got you've got a similar swing to VJ. You've also spent some time on the Mackenzie Tour or Canadian Tour. So I kind of looked, and you had played a couple events in around where we are here in Toronto. So what were some of those events like?
I love the Mackenzie Tour. It was great. It was after I had been on the Corn Ferry Tour the first time, and I lost some status, and then went back out there and played. But the Mackenzie Tour was good because it got me back into traveling, playing 4 day events, making cuts, getting in contention a lot.
Right.
Thinking I played 2.5 seasons. I think I only missed maybe one cut, and I remember getting injured at that one. I had a lot of good chances to win. Had a lot of top fives and top tens up there. But it was great because it was a little different. It wasn't as cutthroat, I would say, as the PGA Tour is.
Yeah.
There was a lot of guys that we had played in college or we had met out there and traveled together, and guys that are some of the roommates that we had. I used to travel with James Hahn and George Bradford, and a lot of guys that are playing out on tour. Now Adam Hadwin and Nick Taylor, all these different guys that were playing. So it was fun to be able to play and travel. Great golf courses up there. I mean, you guys got some of the best golf courses up there
We are
in
we're
Canada.
very lucky. Yeah, very lucky. I've played one where I discuss it quite a bit. Is in a little town called Belleville. It's named Black Bear, and it was a Mackenzie Tour stop. It's very long, and I'd been out of the game a little bit. And when I went there last year, it was my third or fourth round or something, and it punished me. So I see why those courses from back there, why they cost us so many strokes. So it's pretty good. And you're right, like right in the Toronto hub here, like a couple
Yeah.
months back, I was talking with like Rory Blackleroy. He does the intro here on the podcast. So I don't know if you ever heard his music, but it's pretty awesome. And he was saying the same thing. Like he always hears so much good things about Toronto. So, and he's always into free golf. So he kind of goaded me into a free round during the episode on live. So, but yeah, I definitely I feel lucky. Unfortunately, we're on a bit of a pandemic pause right now, so we're not playing any golf in Ontario, which is the province or state that I live in. But
Hey, that's golf, bro. Put that ball in the water and I thought it was skip. If it check up too fast and I thought it was skip. If it go past the flag and I thought it was sit. I come ready with excuses, boy, I'm a quit. Not really sure why I started this here. I can't think of nothing harder than this. And the hours I hit, I get darker than this. Stay on the range till them targets get hit. Don't even drink with that barf and get hit. Couldn't wait for the 19, just carted a trip. And I start with a fit, now I'm down to a sip.
so moving on a little bit to some more of your past. You were on the Big Break Ireland, so maybe you can give us an idea of that. That's pretty cool. I'd definitely love to talk about the Big Break.
It was cold and a bunch of hurry up and wait.
Right.
So, people understand. I mean, you're there for like 3 weeks and it was freezing over there. But, our Tourism Ireland was one of the sponsors, so we could be bundled up on every scene. So we were sitting out there just freezing the whole time. It was fun though. I think a little bit different was Big Break was toward the end of my career, where it's kind of the beginning of most people's careers. So I was the old head on Big Break, but a lot of great players. Some that went on to play in the LPGA Tour and different tours around the world, and it was cool because we're all still pretty close.
Yeah.
It's a big break, so it's always going to get a little chippy.
Yeah.
There, but it was fun, and so it was a great experience going over there to Ireland, playing the K Club and some of the other golf courses that we were playing at. Unfortunately, I didn't win. I felt like I should have. I was kind of running the tables there for a long time on this show, and the one day my putter decided not to show up was right there before the last show, and missed a couple putts and didn't get a chance to finish it off. But it's a good experience. I mean, people don't realize the difference between playing on a reality show like that and playing a tour event.
Right.
It's way more nerve-wracking doing a reality show because if I've got a 2-iron from 240, in a golf tournament, and I hit it in the bunker, I can still get up and down, make birdie or make par, whatever it is. You're in the flow. There, you sit around for 3 hours in the freezing cold. You may hit 2 warm-up shots, and it's like, okay, now hit this shot inside the circle or go home.
Right.
And you're thinking, I always tell people, I remember when we had the flop wall. It's like a downhill lie. It's a little wet in the morning. It's really tight, and this wall in front of you looks like it's about 50 feet high, right? And so I'm sitting there, and being able to hit flop shots has always been my thing, right? I've been doing that since I was a little kid. I got there sitting there going, if I bone this into this wall right now, I'm going to get clowned by every single student or friend or anyone who knows me that's ever played golf is going to just rag on me the rest of my life. So luckily I hit a good shot in there to a couple feet, but it's one and done. That's it. There is no recovery.
Yeah.
Right. So it adds a little different, a little different element to playing the game.
On my call for the scope. Nope. See that I'm pushed through the low. No. Go ahead and count out the birdies so far. It's 3 in a row. 224 to the hole, no hybrid behind, I pull as a foe. They say that you drive for the show.
They say that you puff for the dough.
Remember I used you hundreds. Garmin approach on my wrist say 100.
Maybe transition into a little bit of the Dubline. So, I actually made a post today because Scotty Cameron was talking about his Delmar putters today, and I've been playing the Delmar for a little while now. And I consider, putting to be one of my better assets of my game, easily the best part of my game, I could say. Now, I was talking to you a little bit about the Dubline. So how did you create it? Like what gave you the vision to create it? And you've got a lot of players using it now as well. So kind of maybe just give us an idea of the product.
So the Dubline, first of all, the name comes from everybody calls me A-Dub, and there's 2 lines on it. So there's double lines. And so when I was using it back in the day with players, everyone says, hey man, if you want to putt well, go get one of Dub's lines, right? And so it just was easy to just call it the Dubline. A lot of people use, whether it's chalk line or putting string or whatever it is, and I see them using it incorrectly. And so one of the most important things is getting your eye line correctly while putting, conducive to how your stroke is. So someone who has a little more arc in their strokes, eyes going to be slightly inside. Someone who likes their eyes directly over the top of it is going to have a little bit more of a straight back and straight through stroke. Not exactly straight back and straight through, but a little bit more. And
Right.
so making sure that we set up the exact same ways is the only way to be a consistent putter and to be a really good putter. And so there, you see Tiger in his prime when he stepped over a putter, he looked like he was going to make a putt. All of his lines were straight, his shoulders and his hips and his feet and everything. There was nothing that looked, kind of wacky or wonky in there. So um, seeing some players using string, I saw players using it the wrong way.
Okay.
And you can move the ball over to get comfortable. And so if you wanted your eyes over the top of it, your eyes were inside, you just move the ball a little bit forward, and all of a sudden you feel comfortable. It looks like the string is in the middle of the ball. Dubline is kind of like idiot proof, right? It's like golfing for dummies. Like it doesn't let you mess up. If your eyes are directly over the top of it, you will only see one line. You're just going to see the black line.
Right.
If you like your just inside of it, you're going to see two lines. And so you'll see the white line just underneath. If you get your eyes on the other side of the ball, you're going to see the white line on the outside. And so, it came out of I've historically got my eyes a little bit too far over. I get a little bit too far over the ball, which maybe kind of cut my putts a little bit. And so something I started using with some players. You talked about Jason Gore, working with him on it, particularly. And so when I came out with the actual Dubline product, there is like 13 to 14 different ways to use it to help your stroke. One is going to be your eyes. You're going to be able to clean and correct path, obviously alignment, aim, face angle, rise of the putter. But what we started doing was taking the dub lines and sticking them in at 45 degrees so they're not at 90 degrees straight up and down, and putting our shaft in there so we can start to really make sure that the shaft is staying parallel to our plane as well. So there's a lot of different things that the Dubline does, from straight putts to breaking putts. It allows you to line up the exact same every time, so you can get a repeatable stroke and get the same results. But it turns every putt into a straight putt. And when you're on the golf course, you're going to start to see where your Dubline would be set up, and it's easy to start to set up on the golf course to get the same results as when you practice.
I like it. Yeah, like I was saying, I've always played like a heel hosel putter. Yeah, even before I was playing like an Odyssey number 9, and when I was younger, like I had that in the bag my throughout high school, like since I was a kid. So it's one of those clubs you get comfortable with. There's obviously there's technology now with stability shafts and things like that, but not as much technology in the putter. So I definitely have kind of that arced like backswing in my putter, or descent. So definitely always looking for things that kind of improve putting, because no matter how good you are, if you can improve your putting, you're going to lower your strokes, right? So just wanted to talk. I'm looking at some of the I'm just looking over on the screen, so anybody looking at YouTube, we've got a couple flags in behind you there. Like I'm seeing some of the NCAA ones here, and the Open. I see the Open just over your left shoulder. So give us an idea. I do put these up on YouTube. So what are a couple of those flags and some of those memories?
Let's see. We've got some kind of going all the way around. That was actually from Big Break Ireland. So
Yeah.
that's K Club. All the contestants, signed this one. Right behind me is this was NCAA championship that we won 2 years ago. So these were both of the flyers we got from there. Above was the NCAA regional championship that we won. Um, we have the Open Championship here, signed by Shane Lowry. East Lake Golf Club, where they have the Tour Championship. A good friend of mine that's kind of been part of the East Lake Foundation and family for a long time. And just some other flags. I just got a new one I have to put up from the concession club, that Shasta Averhart that plays on the LPGA and Symetra Tour, that she signed saying, thanks for believing in me, coach, and we've been getting some good work. So, they're nice tokens. I think it's something kind of cool to get, instead of going to golf course to get in a hat, right, or a shirt that I'll either sweat out here in a couple of weeks,
Yeah.
get a packet. And it's good for decor, and so been always such a big part of my life. I mean, if you go through this house, it's just, it's like I'm just a stupid golfer, right? It's like, you know,
So just before I let you go, Andy, what's on deck for you? What do you got coming up for the rest of the golf season? We're still pretty early into it, so I know you're doing a bit of work, like you had mentioned with Kamaiu, and then you're just traveling tomorrow. So what's on deck? What's going on with you for the next little while?
so we got NCAA regionals coming up at the Street Slot Resort in Central Florida. If we finish top four there and play well, we'll have the national championship, which would be great. We're going for a three-peat, and the national championship is right across the street from where I'm right now at PGA National. So that'll be a great venue. Hopefully, we can get there and get a good chance to defend. After that, I'm going to spend some time with some of my tour players on the road. This is a time I get to spend a little bit more time with them because the college season will be done. The recruiting never stops. I'll be recruiting. I'm losing three All Americans this year, so I've got some
Wow.
big shoes to replace. But we've had a nice recruiting season so far. I've signed two really big players. Looking for one more. Actually, I'm gonna, the same thing as I say every year is I'm gonna play some tournament golf this summer. So played a lot this past week, which was nice. I had a little scare. I went on a run where I shot 66, 64. Took a couple weeks off. Played with the team and gave them 83.
Oh wow.
And it shook me to all get out, right? And then this past week we played again, and I shot 67 yesterday, 70 the day before, 68 the day before. So it's back on the. When I get those rounds, I feel like I can actually go back out there and do it again. So, but now it's going to be more just to kind of wet the palate and stay competitive. I think staying competitive and being able to play good is really conducive to me being a more aware coach and a more aware instructor to my players. So it's not all about when I get on the tee a little bit too much. I can get real into positions and technique and forget that it's about scoring and it's about feel and it's about tendencies and it's about emotions. It's about mentality. So really playing a lot. And when I get into some tournament, it really grounds me into what I think the root and the soul of this game is, which is scoring
Right.
and doing it any way you can at that moment. And kind of the quote, dancing with the girl that you brought to the dance, right? And so instead of trying to make a perfect golf swing, trying to instead of managing swings so much, I try and manage our emotions and manage our golf ball. And so, it's going to be a fun summer. Spend some time with my son. We're going to go on, vacation a little bit. Try and get as much rest within this hectic lifestyle as I can. But I'm just going to enjoy it. Play some golf, do some teaching, do some recruiting, do some coaching. And before you know it, the season will start back up. And hopefully by that time, some of the tour players will, got a couple of W's in there. And we've sold a couple more Dublines. I've got a couple other products that are going to be coming out this summer.
Very cool.
Yeah, some on the putting end, so it's going to be like a whole putting system, and then some stuff, swing training aid related as well.
Well, maybe in the future we can get you back on and chat about some of those because I've definitely learned something here. Like I said, we're kind of in a shutdown here. I've only got 118 in, and very quickly it was not going my way. Like I was, putting the driver away, which is a reasonably good club in my bag, and playing the 4 iron and trying to manage the game, like you said, and manage the golf ball. And it just didn't go so well. So I had a great day golfing with a buddy, which was pretty amazing, but that was about it. But yeah, the story of you going 67, 83 kind of reminds me of like playing back in high school and whatnot. And I'm sure with your golfers at the college level, like you said, when Kamaiu hops on the PGA Tour, like it is absolutely the most elite of elite players, and it's absolutely cutthroat. But I remember being that age of like being in high school and whatnot. I didn't play any college golf. I had moved on from the game for a little while, but those guys, they must be competitors, right? So I imagine that you play a big role in that. So thanks for doing that for the young guys, and appreciate you coming on. This was amazing. Appreciate you coming on and kind of chatting about your experience and kind of sharing everything with us. And yeah, when the products roll out, find a way to get them shipped up here, and we will we'll chat about it again sometime, hopefully.
No, perfect. I'll send you up a Dubline, get you working on that. We've got an indoor version coming out, so you don't have to be outdoors. So if you guys are quarantined, you can still get some good work in. And I appreciate you, Matt, for having me on. It's been a great evening.
Anybody looking to get in touch with you, Andy, or just kind of check out your platform, I've got your Instagram handle just in below you here if you're watching on YouTube. But how can we get a hold of you?
Reach out through Instagram, Facebook, under Andy Walker. You can email me at andy@dublinegolf.com as well. Hopefully it'll go through better than the email that you just tried to send.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of ways to get through social media or through email, and reach out for anything, whether it's swing tips, putting tips, advice on traveling, tournament preparation. I just love to talk shop. So if you just want to get on the horn and talk shop, I can go at it all day.
All right, thanks, Andy. Appreciate you coming on. This was great, man. Giving us kind of a look at what pro golf, college golf, all of that stuff's like. Head over, check out OTS Golf on Instagram and On the Screws podcast on YouTube.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me, Mac. I had a great time. Hopefully we can do this again, and towards the end of the summer or whatever. And talk to you soon. Go Fighting Nights.
Gang, twirl, gang, 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 twirl, gang, twirl, twirl, gang, twirl, gang. Give me that driver, I let it bang. Twirl, gang, give me that wedge, I'm taking that aim. Twirl, gang, twirl, twirl. If you ain't twirling, hitter, you lame. You sick of the twirling, hitter, you gang. Yeah, I'm twirling my stick, staring it down, edge to the ground. It's a good chance that I'm in it. The revolution's like 100 a minute. They see me twirling that club. That's how you know that I love it. Yeah, I make it look easy. There really ain't many that do how I do it.